And speaking of power, Mr. President, it must make you feel incredibly powerful to impose tariffs on other nations. You know, Mr. President, imposing tariffs is a lot of power to have. A lot of power. Should never be used lightly. I mean, tariffs can disrupt an entire nation's economy if they're used carelessly. Tariffs can even disrupt international economies and long-term trade relationships between both our greatest allies and even our worst foes. I don't know if you passed high school government class, Mr. President, but tariffs are a tax on American companies who import products from overseas. Now, it's true that tariffs have a ripple effect on economies of other nations, but the tax is not on other nations, Mr. President. The tax is on American companies, which means, and I hope you're listening, American companies will suffer financial losses due to tariffs. And in order to make money and no longer go under because of those tariffs, American companies pass on those costs to American consumers. That's right, everyday Americans who are also everyday voters, by the way. And yes, it's the everyday American who will ultimately pick up the added costs due to your tariffs. And another thing about tariffs that I'm sure you must be aware of because it's in the U.S. Constitution, and you must have read that document forwards and backwards. The U.S. Constitution does not give presidents the power to pass laws or impose tariffs. The U.S. Constitution gives Congress the power to pass laws and impose tariffs. I'll show you. Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution says, quote, "The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and exercises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and the general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and exercises shall be uniform throughout the United States." You see that word, duties, Mr. President? A tariff is one type of duty. But I'm sure some smart lawyer on your team must have told you about this. I mean, why would you hire lawyers who are only going to tell you what you want to hear? Surely they must have been honest with you. And then again, maybe they were. Maybe they did tell you what the Constitution says. But maybe, because you can't stand the fact that Congress has authority to do something that you don't have authority to do, you decided to ignore the Constitution. Because that's what strong leaders do, don't they, Mr. President? You're a bull in the china shop. You get things done, Mr. President, because who's got time to care about the laws of our land or abide by the Constitution? And you said it yourself. You could do whatever you want. Grab them by the truth is, Mr. President, one of two things has likely happened. Either your lawyers lied their asses off to you, or they did tell you the truth, but you just didn't give a damn. And when you imposed all those tariffs, thousands of American companies lost money, and so did the workers. And many of those workers lost their jobs. Major American industries lost tens of billions of dollars. American farmers, American manufacturers, American steel companies, American construction companies, the American automotive industry, and the American computer and electronic companies lost tens of billions of dollars in this year alone and will likely lose tens of billions of dollars or more next year. If I were you, Mr. President, I'd cancel all those tariffs as soon as possible. Remember those things I mentioned earlier that you always seem to want? Approval, appearing like a strong leader, but having a bad definition of it. Well, ignoring the Constitution and stealing a power and authority that the Constitution only gives to Congress doesn't make you look like a strong leader, Mr. President, and sure as hell ain't going to get you the approval that you want. You look weak, Mr. President, and because of this, more and more Americans aren't going to like you very much, and they are not going to like any Republican representative or senator who continues to back your tariffs. Money talks, Mr. President, and stealing money from American businesses and American workers is going to bite you in the ass.